Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. My name is Blessing and this week we're talking about study tips that will help you ace any class and pass any exam. Like these are study tips I've used and they have helped me. So I'm just going to share it and to whoever it helps, I'm glad it helps you. My number one study tip is using Quizlet. I know everyone knows about Quizlet, but do you really know how to use Quizlet well or the right way? So for me, I actually use Quizlet to do my assignments and also to study. Assignment wise is I use Quizlet to search up questions. I also use it to solve similar questions on topics that were taught to me in class. So it's like let me say the topic was on Pythagoras theorem. So I'll go on Quizlet and search up Pythagoras theorem, like that math topic, and then solve questions on that. Another way I use Quizlet is I use it to make flashcards. So in Quizlet, you'd see make flashcards is like an option there to make flashcards. So I would actually either you can upload your PDF or your notes on Quizlet and it just makes the flashcards for you, or you make the flashcards yourself. So I prefer to make the flashcards myself because I feel like I always remember them during an exam. Like I'll be like, oh, that's where the question was on my flashcard. Do you get? So I'll make the flashcards myself and then I would study them every day. And that was what really helped me as making flashcards. If you still don't understand how to make the flashcards, please let me know in the comment section and I'll address that. My number two study tip, study in group. Group work or study groups are needed in college, in high school, whatever class you are in. It's 100% needed because when you study in group, not only do they help you emotionally, they help you school wise. Like, I know you need your group friends for like emotional support, but sometimes when you're studying in group, you could all bring up a topic that everyone finds hard, and you could all, one person could explain it to the whole group, or something we do a day to our exam. So, something my group does is that maybe one person could ask everyone questions, and then from asking questions, we figure out we figure out the wrong answers and the right answers. And the funny thing is, the next day when we're writing our exam, I would see a question and I'm like, oh, we spoke about that in during our group study yesterday. Do you see? So group work actually helps a lot when you're trying to study. The third tip I would give is using ChatGPT. Not that way, not the way you think. Please, please. For me, I feel like some people don't know how to use ChatGPT the right way. For me, I mean, anyone can use it the way they want to use it. But for me, I upload my notes on ChatGPT and I tell it either to summarize my notes, give me explanations of my notes if I don't find my notes, if I find it hard to understand them. So either give me explanations of my notes or the slides that were posted, or to make questions for me. So for me, I could be like, give me 50 questions that you think would come out on my exam based on these slides I'm going to upload. Something like that. So that actually helps me study. And I would also tell it to give me the answers and rationale to the questions. So that actually helps me study for them. Like, yes, that's how I use ChatGPT or any other AI app to study. I also use Google Notebook LM, right? That really helped me in one class. So, funny story, right? Meet up a I had to go meet up a friend to do something the weekend before my exam. I really had to do that thing, like, I could not wait. So, I didn't know how to study for my exam. I was like, oh my God, I really need to pass this exam. What do I do? Then I remember on TikTok one day, I saw a girl. She was talking to an AI, like to a computer. I don't know how she was doing it, but it was like the AI was like, "Oh, explain this," or the AI was telling her notes in a podcast format. So I was like, "Okay, how do I do this?" So then I did my research and I found out about Google Notebook LM, and then I used that for my exam. So basically, I uploaded my slides on that website and then he turned my slides into a podcast. And then I was listening to that podcast all through my ride because I had to meet up my friend in another school. So I was listening to that podcast all through my ride to that school and then all through my ride back. And even when I met up my friend, when we weren't doing anything, let me say before I sleep, I would listen to the podcast. So it was easy for me. Like I didn't have to carry my whole book. I just had to carry my phone, my AirPods, and that was it. And I read for that exam listening to that podcast, and I ended up with a very good grade. Like I got A in that exam. So Google Notebook LM really helps too. And then another study tip is you should learn to study to understand, not to memorize. Like don't memorize every single thing on your slides. Just understand your slides. Because let's be real, you're going to need this in the future, especially if you're in college and this is your major that you're studying for, like one of your classes for your major. Study to understand, like understand, oh, why is this disease? What causes this disease? Why does this, what's the pathophysiology of this disease? Or why does this disease affect us this way? You get what I mean? Or why does this condition act this way? Just try and connect the dots and study to memorize. Also, sometimes on YouTube, I had this class where I had to study medications for an exam. I went on YouTube and YouTube actually had an animation for the medications I had to study. I'll post it up here. So the name of the channel was Pixelrise, and then it had animations for the medications I had to study. And I would just watch the animations, and when I'm writing my exam, I'm remembering the animations. It's funny, but that was the way I studied for that class because those animations broke those medications down in a way that it was so easy to understand. Like you didn't need to memorize nothing. Like I'm not even gonna, like, if you should ask me now, oh, what does this medication do? I'm going to tell you. Ask me which organ in the body does it affect. I'm going to tell you. Yes, that's another thing. YouTube channel, watch YouTube videos. Ask people that have taken the class before. Ask them the channels, the YouTube channels that really help in that class, or go on TikTok and search for the YouTube channels that help in that class and watch those channels. Trust me, you're going to get A in that class. Once you watch, like there are some channels that they'll just explain everything for you. You just understand it well, and then hmm, when you see your grade, it's only Jesus. You're going to, like, it's going to be so easy for you. So yeah, YouTube channels help too, and they also help you to study in a way that you understand, not that you're memorizing. Another study tip is active recall. I'm going to link this with whiteboard method. So when you're studying, the active recall method helps you to remember things because you're going to like keep recalling. Do it like 5 times. Like let me say you study a whole page, try and explain the whole page to yourself again. That way your brain is like actively recalling that whole page. And then if you miss out on something, read the page again and then try and explain it again. So you do this for like 5 times or like 6 times. That's when you won't forget. So yes. And then I was like, I'll link this to the whiteboard method because I know some friends. I mean, I tried the whiteboard. It wasn't really my favorite, but it did help at a certain point. It helped with like classification of medications that were a lot for me. That helped me with that. So the whiteboard method is that you read and then you try and write down on a whiteboard. Try and write down everything you remember. And then when you're done writing it down, the one you go back to your notes, check your notes and see if you got it. Then if you did, good, you can write it down all over again. If you didn't, then you read your notes again, then you go back and write it down. So when you see people on TikTok writing and writing and writing and writing, is that whiteboard method. They're actively recalling. And if they didn't remember stuff, they'll go back again, read it, and then go write again. Study with a clear goal in mind. Like, don't deceive yourself. Don't tell yourself, oh, I'm going to study this night and you don't end up studying. Don't tell yourself, oh, I'm going to study till 4 a.m. Tell yourself, I'm going to pull an all nighter. That is so unrealistic. Let's be for real. You need to sleep for your exam. So set clear goals. Be like, oh, I'm going to study till 12 and then I'm going to sleep. Then I could wake up around 6 a.m. and continue studying. That's if your exam is tomorrow. Or if you really want to study hard and you have not studied. So yes, set clear goals like that. Tell yourself, oh, I'm going to throughout the whole of today, I'm going to study for 8 hours. That's a very clear goal. Don't tell yourself I'm going to study for 24 hours. You will not eat. You will not shower. You will not do basic things or take care of yourself. And remember, some people, you even go on TikTok, you will not take a break. Like, be real with yourself. Set a clear goal. Oh, I'm going to study for 8 hours. And also, there is this app I used to use. It helps with like the Pomodoro technique. So you would click on study, and then during your study period, you study. Then it counts down for you for like 25 minutes or so. And then you go on your break, then you study again. What I usually do is that I could study the first 25 minutes, and then those first two 5 minutes break, I don't take my 5 minutes break. Because let's be real, I feel like if I study for 25 minutes and then I take a 5 minutes break to come back and study for 25 minutes, I won't, it's going to make me lose focus, and I won't really feel like I'm actually studying. So what I do is that I would study for the whole 1 hour, and then I'll take that 15 minutes break, then I'll study again. And then when you're taking your break, once the timer says stop, it's like stop with your break time, then you stop. Leave that TikTok app and study for your exam. Because let me tell you something, that TikTok you're watching is not going to save you on your exam day. Next tip is review your notes the day before your exam. So the day before your exam, honestly, you should be done studying. I'm a victim of this. I'm not done studying the day before my exam. Sometimes I have a lot to study that day. You should be done studying a day before your exam. So that way you could go over everything all over again. Ask yourself questions, solve questions. This is also the perfect time to do some more group study. You also ask yourself questions, and then that helps you to remember more. So yes, that's that day before your exam, 24 hours before your exam, you should be reviewing your notes and answering questions, not trying to study honestly. So try and plan in a way that before your exam, like in a way that the day before your exam you're actually done studying a lot of things. Also sleep. You know, I'm not even joking. The day I started, the day I learned how to not be so hard on myself and actually sleep before my exam was a game changer for me. Like before, I would not sleep. I'll get like 2 hours of sleep, 3 hours of sleep. But I don't do that no more. Now I could get 8 hours of sleep before an exam, and I'm going to that exam hall refreshed, happy, playful, joyful, ready to write that exam. And trust me, that's a game changer. So try and get at least 5 hours of sleep. Don't pull an all nighter. Because imagine going to an exam hall, you're writing your exam and you're sleeping. You're writing your exam and you're sleeping. Or you're writing your exam and your head is aching you so bad because you didn't sleep or you just feel dizzy. You don't want that happening. That makes you lose focus. That just ruins the whole hard work you put in to study for this exam. So yes, please sleep. And my last tip is be consistent. Like if you know you have an exam next week, put in the work, read, be disciplined enough. I'm not saying you should not have fun with your friends. I'm not saying you should not watch your TikTok videos or do anything you want to do. But be real, like do all that, like be disciplined in a way that when it's time to study, you are studying. You are studying and you're studying and when you're studying, you're achieving your goals for that day in a way that you'll be ready 24 hours before your exam. So yes, I hope this helps you, and let me know if it does. Let me know if you found any tip I just said helpful, and let me know if you want more clarification on any tip I just gave, and I'll make sure to explain more on that in another video. I'm sure by the time 2026 reaches, by the time we clock a new year, you're going to be getting A's in your classes. So share this video too to your classmates that you think might find this helpful. And then, yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notifications if you want to see more of me. Bye.